I'm Elaine Jones. I'm the product manager for the Royal Borough of Greenwich website. And we're just going to talk you through two new content type designs that we've launched on our website. So just to give you a background, we launched our LocalGov Drupal website in June 2024. And this is some of the work that we've done following that. We're still actually migrating from Jadu, so it's been a long process. So yeah, if we just go to the first slide, please, Jenny. Just to give you some context for how these service types, content types came about. Basically, after the launch of the LocalGov Drupal site, there were requests for some more sort of visual pages. One specific one was from our local offer team. Our local offer site was on a separate site with our Greenwich community directory, and we wanted to bring it into the website. And for their purposes, they really wanted to have something that was very visually engaging for their users. It also came up as something that was requested for commercial services and also sort of comms campaigns. And then perhaps the key driver was really the strategy within the council to have life event content. So the idea of that is to combine services from different areas that people need at particular times, whether that's, choosing a school, different sorts of service content around help with money and getting into debt, things like that. And the idea was that this would actually sort of support a general initiative within the council of bringing together service teams to help people before they reach a sort of crisis point with things like debt. So with these drivers, we came up with, well, I say we, I have to say all the work on this was done by Alicia, our content lead, who's going to be presenting, and Jenny, our product design lead. They actually worked on this before I even joined the council, so I've only been here 11 months. So they came up with the curated topic page. So the idea is that rather than just having a list of links to different services that might be appropriate, it gives a bit more background, a bit more information, and then also a revised flexible design for the service landing pages. So Jenny's going to start us off with that, I think.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm just going to go over service landing pages. So we updated the look and feel of service landing pages and incorporated some additional components. So one being the different hero banner that we have at the top with different options, one with an image, for example, and one without, but with also optional text in it. We introduced some new card or tile card designs. So we have a few different options for that as well. So one with an image and a title, but also ones without an image at all. But you can also just have a title, and then you can also add a description to things. So that gave us more flexibility for different types of card links that we needed. And then we have something called the What's New section. I guess that's the news sort of articles. But we came up with one specifically for different services so that it doesn't conflict with some of the sort of, I guess, restrictions that maybe the main news that the comms teams needs. So we created one, for example, for the local offer team, which will demo a bit later. But we have a news section just for them. And then we also introduced a promo banner, which originally was on our homepage, but we've incorporated it to be used in our service landing pages as well. I will pass to Alicia to talk a bit about curated topic.
Thank you. Yeah, so as Elaine said, the curated topic page is a way for us to curate content around a topic that needed both signposting as well as sort of more contextual information. And for this, we know we didn't just want to use a service page as it would be sort of limit the options and elements that we could put on a page. And we didn't want it to look just like a big long list of links. But we also knew that a service landing page wouldn't work because we wanted to add that extra context to the page that we normally wouldn't have on a service landing page. So we decided not to use that, and instead we wanted to have a new content type as the main purpose of those page was more than just navigation. So we created this more flexible content type for these sorts of topics, and this basically just allows us to be more specific when working with the service teams and making it really clear in our design system documentation what content type, what each content type was for. And this also allows us to add more components to these pages that we wouldn't really want on those more standard navigational pages. Next slide, please. So an example of this is our support with learning page, which is in our special educational needs and disabilities for their service. And the main need for this was that we wanted to help people better understand the SEND support available in schools outside of an education, health and care plan. It's very difficult to get an education, health and care plan, and many people aren't eligible. So we really wanted to help manage resident expectations as well as reduce pressure on the service. So we wanted to increase awareness of the process of getting support, which starts with the support that's available to everyone in schools. Then the review process about how the child's needs are assessed on a regular basis to see if they need additional support, if the support that they're currently getting is meeting their needs. And then if the support was not enough, then how to get into an AHCP. So by creating this new content type, we can better break up this flow and order it in a way that better represents their likely journey of getting an EHCP. So of course they can still search for an EHCP, doesn't stop people going straight to what they need to find, but it's just a way for us to manage expectations whilst not hiding those services. And the components on this page include a hero banner with a slightly different design to differentiate it from service landing pages and to make the page more visual without breaking up the flow of the content. Then we have introductory text on these pages to give a bit of context about what's in the rest of the page. And then we use the card groups again. So for this page, we've chosen not to use cards with images and stuck to the title cards, as all the titles of those cards were all quite clear and simple. So we didn't need to add an explanation to help them understand what was under each one. And then we had content to guide and advise them on the process. So that's your more standard content components. And this means that they can see all the support available for children that children with SEND can get first, then the information about reviews, and then more tailored SEND support, and then the EHCP process.
So we're just going to do demos so we can dive in a bit more detail into these two pages. So I'm just going to switch over. So just starting with the service landing page again, this is what our kind of basic service landing page looks like. So just taking an example, the council tax one. So it looks pretty, standard. And when we updated the service landing page with these sort of card tiles, it used to be just, I think it was just text links in a grid. We're able to do that automatically. So I think it was just a replacing of the component type. And so when we release this on the site, these other service landing pages were automatically updated with a default design, which is this default sort of gray hero text, and then like the cards as well. And then moving over to more visual design, I guess, as an example, we mentioned local offer. So this is what the local offer looks like right now. And as you can see, it uses a very different hero banner with the optional sort of introductory text in there. And we've used different sections of cards to help people navigate and provide different ways for people to navigate. So this first part has these image cards with kind of three main audience types, for example. And then we have another set of cards, but they are description and kind of title text. And then I think and then additional kind of content. I think Alicia will go in these more later. We mentioned life events, and these are some of the life events that we've created that's related to SEND audience. And then the promo banner as well, and then additional cards, and then the what's new. So this what's new is specifically just for the local offer. So if you click into it, you'll see just all local offer related sort of news type articles and events. And then one thing I wanted to share is with the addition of these new cards as well and how they worked, because we have 3 different variations, and we've tried to make it easy for a content designer to go in and change them as needed. So this is our card group. So we can choose from the beginning what kind of card type. So right now we have cards with titles and images for that first set of cards, and what heading it is, an optional description. And for each card, you can then select the image for it and the title and where it links to. We've also added this thing for heading level because depending, I guess, on the group, you might have this as a level 3 because it's under level 2 heading, for example. But each of the cards have these images. The great thing is if you decide, actually, I don't want images anymore, or we decided we're not going to use them, or we don't have all the images yet, and we just want to stick with, just titles, you can do that. And it removes the card. But if later you're like, actually, we do need images, but I've already selected some images for these in the past, I can go back and it'll pop up again. So even if I do, I'm not going to save it because this is a live page, but if you come back to there, it holds that data of the images as well. So it makes it really easy to kind of switch if needed, and when ready, especially when you're trying to upload and choose images for things as well. Yeah. And I think that is it with the live event stuff. One thing to note as well, actually, is that you can have a live event, a service landing page, not live event, a service landing page under another service landing page. So this is a service landing page type, but for example, if I go into I'm a parent or carer, I think we've also used a service landing page for this type of page as well. It was just, we had a lot of, especially with local offer, there was a lot of content and a lot of different hierarchy and levels in the content. So we needed to be able to use this type of page on multiple levels as well and underneath each other. Yeah, shall we switch over? I can't really see anybody, so.
Yeah.
Alicia.
So are you able to just go to the knife crime page?
Yeah. With which page?
Knife crimes, if you just search knife crime.
Oh, can I just search it? Oh, yeah, I could just search it.
Test our search as well while we're there.
Yeah.
See how good it is.
This one?
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Is this the right one?
No.
That's not the right one, is it? We are also working on our search at the moment, so you will see some issues there.
Here.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so when designing the content for live events, campaigns, and curated topic pages, we realized that a lot of the components and design that we needed were the same. So for this reason, we decided to build it as one content type. So we have then, and then we've explained the different needs and framing for this content in our design system documentation. And it basically just meant that we only had to develop one content type, and our content designers know how to frame and design the pages based on the type of content needed. So I'm just going to show 2 types of content within that first template. So this is the first one. So this is the knife crime page. And this is one of the ways we're using this content type is for sort of like more like comms campaigns. So in this example, you can see if we go right to the top, you've got a banner, and then you've got like a hero banner, and then we have a bit of introductory text about knife crime, and then an embedded video. And we then, after that, we have our card groups. So in this example, we're using a card group with title and description, but no image, as this wouldn't be suitable for the topics. And then campaigns are basically historically something we've struggled to deal with. So they used to be just in service pages and landing pages, and they kind of had to be shoehorned into the IA in a way that didn't really work very well. So having curated topic pages have helped us better meet this needs and treat campaign content in a different way to more task-based service content, which also makes it easier to sort of keep them up to date and make sure that they're not just sticking around and getting confusing over time when the campaign is no longer running. Another thing we're using the content type for is life events. So these are for big changes that someone may experience that triggers a need for information, advice, or sometimes interactions with multiple council services, as Elaine said earlier. So, for example, if someone moves into the borough and needs to set up council tax, find a school for their child, apply for relevant benefits or exemptions, and sign their tenancy agreement, it basically allows you to help guide people through that big life change in one place and pull together things from multiple service teams. So I'm just going to show one example. So Jenny, if you're able to go just back to the send page, and then it's the I'm preparing for adulthood one. Thank you. So in this example, we have transitions information for young people with SEND who are nearing adulthood. So we know that at this point, there is often a reduction in the level of support that a young person gets. So in this, guys, we have a banner, then an intro to explain that there will be a change, but that support is still available for them now that they're adults. We then have cards which detail the options that are available at different points. So higher education, work and jobs, finding a home, making decisions, things like that. Again, unlike the knife crime campaign, we've actually used cards with a title, image, and description in this one, just because it draws attention to different parts, and because we know this page is designed for young people with sort of neurodiversity and a range of different learning disabilities. We're trying to break that up and help people navigate that. So that's some of the context around and feedback that we had from young people as part of this work, that they needed more visual content to help them navigate. So that's where we kind of make a decision around imagery based on sort of the needs we're seeing that come through. We don't use them for sort of service content, if that makes sense. So if there's something that's really task based, we don't use it as much for that. But because this is helping guide people through a sort of big change in their life, we feel like it's a bit more suitable to use imagery in these sorts of examples, because it's not someone, trying to quickly get something done, if that makes sense. So then in this content type, we've also got the videos, which you can just see on the screen now. And this is because we want to create, in these sorts of pages, we want to create more of a community feel. So people going through really large changes are more likely to want to hear how other people their age experienced it, rather than what someone at the council is saying. So this is a way for us to provide a community feel that we would give, more of a community feel than we would give in service content, which is very to the point, get the thing done, straightforward, more like that. So we then include more information around the next steps. So information about how support changes after someone turns 18, and a bit more information on the changes for parents who may be looking for this guide. So because we know that this, we're targeting at young people with disabilities, but we also know that sometimes they'll have a carer or a parent helping guide them through it. So we've also got a bit of information for them on this page as well, basically just to talk them through as well and support them as they're going through this big life change. And that's it for the demo, I think.
Okay. And I guess the last bit that we wanted to talk about is just we're still working on new components, and specifically around the life event type pages. And some of these components could be widely used as well. But just taking a look at some of the life event pages, there's some things, types of information in there that may need better communication visually. So just an example, we might want to use the key information or those card call out component, but style them in a way that is really easy to use and see in a page of content. The example there is one of the life events is around starting school. So for example, highlighting deadlines or really key information for someone looking at that. Adding quotes in. So we already have the quote component, but we don't really apply it in every page. And so we thought maybe the life event would be really great. In addition to the videos, we can pull out quotes, which is something that I think some of the people in the local offer service were keen on as well. And we're looking at other things like accordions or other types of call out boxes for different types of content. But yeah, those are still sort of in the design phase, and deciding what is it that we really need for these page types. I think that's it.
That was great. Really interesting. There's a few questions, so let's just start at the top and we'll work through. So Rachel. Hi, Rachel, Walsall.
Hello.
Hello. Do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, so typically when you create service pages, you have a set of children under that service page, and you've got one parent. So when you're creating something similar in your changed your service landing page, have you expanded that so that you can use you can link to pages which live elsewhere in the IA?
Yeah, we do. So we have different ways of navigating through the website. So some of the pages that we link to from both the live events and the created topic pages exist in a slightly different sort of service-based navigational structure. And some of them, yeah, most of them do. So we pull those in, and so there's kind of two routes through. So you're pulling through existing content, and then sometimes there's content specifically designed for those pages as well. So that might be like a news page or something like that, and it sort of links through. So yeah, we can link to sort of multiple child pages under the curated topic pages.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Thanks, Rachel. Javik, I had a question about news. Do you want to ask your one about news articles?
Yes, I think one of the extra content types was the new one was service news articles. So is it, how do you know the difference? Is it tagged differently? So it's to that service or content curated type? And then does it visually look different, or how does it come across in search?
I'll just answer that because basically we ended up needing a separate news article just so that we could control permissions, because we've got the comms team that do our main news, and the people doing the service news articles were just people within service teams, and we didn't we didn't want the service teams being able to access the comms type news. So we set up this separate content type, as I say, basically so that we could control the permissions, because it could have worked, and they are essentially the same as news articles, the main news articles. It's really, I don't think there's any difference in what they can do. They might have a few fewer components, but it's essentially the same, but just enables us to control the access.
Rachel, you've got your hand up. Did you want to come in on this?
Yeah, we've got, I don't know what it is that Javik's trying to do, but we've got an extra field on our news articles, and it's got a tag on it. And then we use that tag to display only relevant information from the standard news articles on particular pages. So if it's about council tax, we'll only show the council tax tagged articles on a news block. For the recent articles on council tax, so it's not using different newsrooms, it's just using standard news items, but we just put a tag on the actual news item itself, so that the comms team can choose to show it in different areas, whether that's benefits or children's or adults or whatever it is. So it isn't multiple newsrooms.
Cool. And
Actually,
Elaine, sorry.
I could ask about that, because we've just been looking at being able to add articles to multiple newsrooms at the same time, which we're just developing a way of doing that. But I wondered if anyone else has actually done that, so that you've got a main newsroom and a service newsroom, being able to have the same article, so you're not duplicating it in two different places. I don't know, but anyway, we're working on that at the moment.
Rachel, is that what you're saying you've done already, or that's your approach, the approach you've taken?
No, so it's the same newsroom, but so on the service pages, we've got a news block at the bottom of the page, and it shows the latest 3 items that are tagged for a particular area, like I say, benefits or something like that. So it isn't showing them across multiple newsrooms. So if we use multiple newsrooms, it's for things like leisure services want to say that the lift is broken, or it's very specific. So we try to keep as much in our main newsroom as possible and just use tags to send it out to whichever pages we think it needs to appear on. that's how we've approached it anyway.
Cool. Thanks, Rachel. So other questions. Another one from Javik about mobile. I had a question about that.
Just looking at if you've got the cards with images, and then how does it vertically stack, and you're trying to drive. I think you mentioned the images linked to that live event. Just because our usage is about nearly 70% mobile, so I don't know if that dictates anything when you're designing it.
Yeah, so they do stack into one column, so they all kind of become a larger kind of card. If you're on mobile, it looks a bit bigger than on desktop. It's definitely something that we're probably wanting to track more of. And we have on a couple of pages where we do use a lot more, especially the local offer pages, I think, use a lot more cards with images and text and description. And we have done some testing initially as well, and people have been okay like navigating and scrolling down for the page because it does create a longer page, especially on mobile. So far it seems okay, but it's definitely something, yeah, we'll keep tracking about how people actually navigate the page. And when we do design these, I mean, I think Alicia mentioned earlier, we've been trying to do documentation on our design system, and one of the things is keeping in mind how you use each of the components. So with the card groups, we don't want people to go off and create these humongous card groups with all images as well. So within that guidance, it's trying to, make it more sensible to how, if you're going to have a max amount of cards, maybe it's 9 cards, but 9 cards with just a title. If you're going to have like images, maybe you want to reduce it, or you might want to, review kind of if you even need images for that. So there's a little bit of at the moment guidance, but also, yeah, we're still learning about how, with kind of new content being created as well, what is the best way to kind of create some of these pages or some of the needs around them. But we do try to give a little bit of restriction or boundaries to how people should be using the cards, especially because they can get really long.
No, yeah, definitely understand. Good to hear that.
Okay, I'm going to keep going down. Javik, you're asking about whether the topic page is displayed differently on search, whether you can see if it's a topic page or not. And Elaine, you were saying not at the moment. Yeah,
not at the moment. Yeah, no.
And you said there was you're doing some work on search anyway, as we noted.
Yeah. We've got some stuff with Antec that we're trying to work on.
Okay. Let's keep going down. Leah, yeah, recording will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. Leah's not here, but I'll drop that in the follow-up email. Yeah, Islington. So Alex, do you want to ask about your subsites question? I guess I had a question about that, particularly with the send local offer, that approach that you've taken, because I know a lot of other councils have gone down the subsites route or even a microsite. But Alex at Islington, did you want to?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say I really like the concept of designing content around life events as well, and I can see that working well with people who use chat agents and might be asking questions in that way. But yeah, my question, well, I'm quite new to LGD, but so I don't know the ins and outs of everything just yet, but I just wondered about the difference between what you were showing us and subsites. Just mainly, I think the use of images jumped out as being somewhat similar. So yeah, I was curious about that.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Ben's also wondering about that as well. Yeah, so that's.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense. I can see, so local offer definitely would have been a candidate for a subsite potentially. The thing about the curated topic page is obviously it lends itself to something smaller than a subsite, so that it just gives us that sort of flexibility to use it for these life events. So I think it was really just kind of, yeah, I think that is a sort of separate thing. I think for the landing page, yes, there's an argument that you could have done something similar with a subsite, but by keeping it within the main navigation, it just then sort of gives us a bit more flexibility with the service landing pages overall, so that we can have some of them with images if that's appropriate. But as Alicia said, we wouldn't do it on every service landing page, if it's only really if it lends itself to that. So it is I can see where it's definitely something that was a similar solution that might suit some occasions better, the sub-site. But for us, we just wanted that curated topic page with more options for a single page solution.
Is it also to do with where you've put the content as well? As I understand it, with the curated topic pages, it's almost a collection of pages that maybe live in different sections, and you're sort of bringing it together based on the topic.
Yeah, exactly
and is that the case with Send, where they do the content does live in different places rather than under a sub-site, and that's just part of your overall information architecture?
Actually, I think Send, probably Alicia can answer this better than I can, but I think Send is mostly within the one section. It's, I think, because there were various sort of life events identified for Send, it sort of made sense to use the curated topic pages for those, and then sort of combine it within the site. I mean, it's, I think you could go either way with local offer Send information. It could, I know lots of people have a separate site or a sub-site. I think we just wanted to keep it within the site a bit more directly, which we could have done with a sub-site, I guess. But yeah, it's sort of it's just a different way of doing it, I guess.
Yeah, I think like a sub-site would have worked quite well for the local offer, to be honest. But yeah, I think we were looking at a few other things at the same time. And one of the bits of feedback we had when it was on a separate site was that a lot of people obviously looking at it through the perspective of they come into the council website, they were looking for it there and they couldn't find it at the time. Obviously with the sub-site, I don't know how the search works, but because we haven't explored sub-sites, we'll be looking at that soon. But yeah, I think one of the things we've nested local offers under children's as well, because that's where we found that people were looking for it specifically when they visited the council website. So we just wanted to be able to nest it, so you have that journey through. So you go to children's, and then that's where we knew that people were looking for information about, because they saw their child as, this is my child, this is my family, not my child has a disability, I'm going to go somewhere else for that thing. So we wanted to make sure that it worked with the rest of the journey, so that people could find it in multiple places. So yeah, it was just a way, it works quite well with the journey through. But to be honest, I think sub-site would have worked really well for the local offer, but the curated topic page lends itself also to those campaign pages that wouldn't warrant a site, because it's only sort of a couple of pages of content at a time. So yeah, it's quite a nice flexible way for us to do it.
Thanks, Alicia. Ben Hills-Jones, did you want to follow up on that? Just checking, because you put a comment in.
Yeah, no, it kind of makes sense. I think it kind of confused me, because if you hadn't told me what I was looking at, I would have said that's the sub-site I'm looking at. But I think based on what you just said there, that you haven't got any sub-sites yet, or you haven't developed them or designed them, that kind of makes sense. I do wonder, when you get sub-sites, you might revisit that local offer, because everything you can do in a sub-site and more in a sub-site. So sub-site actually gives you more flexibility than that curated topic page gives you. But yeah, it kind of, I get why you've done it, yeah. But yeah, it looks like a sub-site to me. But
yeah, we're currently writing like a proposition for how we use microsites and sub-sites. So I think as part of that, we look at I've looked at the local offer a few times, that would have actually worked really well as a sub-site, but we weren't exploring it at the time. So yeah, it's a good thing to review.
Cool, thanks, Ben.
I'll just jump in. I mean, obviously, yeah, I think it looks really great, actually. And just on the discussion around sub-sites, I mean, obviously, yeah, there is the sub-sites extra module. So if this does develop further, what the sub-sites extra module allows you to do is to use any content type in a sub-site, so you're not restricted. So you could experiment and see how the new content type works with the subsite. And then obviously, yeah, you wouldn't need to change anything. It would just allow you to obviously, if they wanted to use a different color, say, I don't know if they've got their own branding that they use, like for print stuff, and they wanted to incorporate that, then you're really just like putting a shell over all of the pages, and then obviously the subsite navigation as well. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the two work together moving forward.